So we have pretty significant news in the media space in Saudi. I think that,
That's us.
anybody, yeah, exactly. The significant news. We've hit 10,000 plus followers on YouTube.
Yeah, we're going to do a news story on that.
23,000. No, yes, just kidding. Not what we're talking about. Maybe a slightly larger player. Yeah.
Just by a little bit. Not much. But
just by a bit. So obviously we're talking about the MBC news. PIF has acquired a 54% stake in the Saudi media giant MBC Group, or it will. I'm not sure if it did yet. Did it yet?
There was an announcement. Yeah, there was an announcement and there's some hurdles to jump through, but it's okay. Kind of a done deal, I think you could say.
Right. Okay, so it cost $1.99 billion, which is, again, slightly bigger than us.
That's a lot, yeah. We'll take it, but...
It's acquiring the company that's currently owned by the Saudi government. And the Ministry of Finance, represented by Istidama Holding Company, is the seller of its stake in MBC. Following the announcement, the share price of MBC Group jumped on the Tadawul by 10%.
Nice.
And it's very exciting. MBC is going to join other PIF media and tech holdings portfolio, including the Saudi Company for Artificial Intelligence and what's the other one? Saudi Information Technology Company, Saudi Telecom. I think everybody knows MBC. It's one of those brands we grew up with in Saudi. So this is exciting, kind of seeing where it goes in its next phase. But yeah, MBC FM, all the TV channels, the music, all of it is, and now Shahid, of course, all of it is, it's just a huge influence in the day-to-day lives of Saudis.
Yeah, it's a huge acquisition for a very well-known brand, but this is definitely within the PIF's playbook for acquisition of state assets into the PIF's portfolio. I mean, according to Bloomberg, the PIF received a further 8% stake in Elm Co from the government in March. It is seeking to acquire some or all of the finance ministry's 36% holding in local construction conglomerate Saudi Bin Laden Group. So they've been doing this before. And this, of course, rings true with comments from Yasser Rumayyan at FII 8, in which he talked about the PIF focusing more and more on Saudi Arabia, which is not necessarily what international financiers who came to FII seeking to raise money would like to hear necessarily, but there are really good investment opportunities in Saudi Arabia, and that's part of the pivot. It is also something, as prophesized in a deep dive, yours truly did ahead of FII. So patting myself on the back just a little bit, not $1.99 billion patting myself on the back. That would be super nice. But Al Rumayyan, when he was talking on the panel that he spoke on, he said the wealth fund was more focused on the domestic economy and aiming to bring the fund's international investments, down between 18 and 20% now, or in the future, of the total from 30%, which is sort of the number it's been hovering at for a while. So, I mean, that sort of reflects the kind of local focus, the need for Saudi Arabia to start deploying some of its massive resources locally to really stimulate the economy. In this case, it's the media sector. Of course, PIF also signed a huge deal with Google Cloud aimed at developing a global AI hub in Saudi Arabia. That was probably one of the biggest deals announced at FII recently. So yeah, I mean, this just sort of fits into the playbook. It's interesting that it was an acquisition from the PIF from a government entity. So I bet the backroom dealings were interesting. But I think, yeah, I mean, this is sort of PIF, and obviously many know this, but PIF's portfolio is super diverse at this point, and you named a few of their investments in media and telecom and tech. That's only going to increase over time, but they're investing in everything, coffee, dates, energy, across the board. And then, 18 to 20% of the total PIF investment portfolio overseas, that's still a huge amount. I mean, that's still $2 billion roughly, or sorry, $200 billion. So it's not like they're like divesting for overseas. They're just making a little bit of a strategic pivot. So yeah, pretty interesting.